Creo que estaba hablando con el micrófono apagado. ¿Cómo está? Muy buenas noches. Gracias por acompañarme aquí en una emisión más en Radio Nimo TV para jugar Genshin Impact. Vamos a continuar la historia. Esta maravillosa historia de Genshin Impact. Aquí por su canal favorito de Radio Nimo TV. Ok. ¿Qué misión? Tenemos que regresar al IBE. Nada más que estaba buscando la manera de abrir estas estatuas, pero todavía no tengo esta cosa activada. Entonces tenemos que regresar al IBE. Vamos a ver. Tenemos... creo que es por acá. Vamos a recoger esta de aquí. No tengo correo. No tengo correo. Listo, porque si no luego se me olvida. Y luego ando sufriendo.
You're the consultant to Wangsheng Funeral Parlor. Mr. Zhongli, I presume. The Millelith are watching our every move now. These are desperate times. We mustn't act rashly.
Desperate times?
The Adepti of Joyun Karst are finally on the move.
Do they intend to exercise force?
Most likely. I've heard that some members of the Qixing have already gone to meet them. Well, however, both sides were quite obstinate and hit an impasse.
It seems inevitable, given the current situation.
The Adepti do not acknowledge the Qixing. They only acknowledge the contracts of the Geo Archon. If the two sides come to blows, Liyue Harbor will be in no position to stop them.
Surely the Liyue Qixing are not the sort to give in so easily.
Their boneheadedness is known throughout the lands. Yet it's because of that obstinacy that mortals and Adepti are now on the verge of conflict.
And what now? How is it that the Fatui have come under fire?
That's all Ningguang's doing. She proclaimed that in these tumultuous times, the Millelith must rein in the actions of the Fatui. Only now do they want to start keeping tabs on us? That's the Qixing for you. Anyway, Mr. Zhongli, you're one of Child's close associates. Please understand that your actions will reflect on us. Don't let anyone catch you off guard.
It looks like things are about to boil over in Liyue Harbor.
Do you intend to use your neutral identity as an intermediary between both sides? Or will you use your sword to turn the balance? Neither path is an easy one.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Zhongli, we've heard that the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor has also been caught up in all of this. They're currently squaring off with the authorities at the gates.
Things are taking a turn for the worse. I'm afraid I must leave now to handle things back at Wangsheng Funeral Parlor. I hope that Master Hu has been able to keep things under control for the moment. Consider your next course of action carefully, Traveler. If you're trying to prevent an explosion, it may be wisest to look for the fuse first.
Having connections with the Fatui seems to be quite the double-edged sword. So what does Zhongli mean by looking for the fuse? Oh, Paimon gets it. If there's anyone that wants to see the whole city turned upside down, it's definitely him. He must be waiting for the moment when no one is watching to do something really bad. But where could we find him now? Where would he go at a time like this?
A la Casa Dorada. A por la Casa Dorada. Perrillos. Ay, Dios. Los mojé. Pobrecillos perrillos pequeños. Oh, qué bonito se ve. Híjole, pues vamos a usar este equipo a ver si no lo tenemos que cambiar.
Wow! This is the Golden House? It looked impressive enough from the outside, but who would have guessed that it was even fancier on the inside? And so full of Mora. This is where all of Tibet's Mora is minted, right? In that case, maybe they won't notice if a few Mora go missing. Oh, so it's a trap! Tricky, tricky. Good thing Paimon's got you here. But even if we can't take any, we can still have a closer look, right? Or better yet, take a nap on top of a mountain of Mora. It's like a dream come true. Oh, right. Back to business. It's quiet. Too quiet. Surely someone's gotta be guarding something as important as the Exuvia.
Exuvia.
Huh? Look! What happened here? Uh-oh. Paimon smells trouble. Quick! We have to go make sure that the Exuvia is all right. Go, Barbara, go! Huh?
No, no manches.
You've already fulfilled your task as guides, so why do you still linger here? Haven't you already seen enough trouble for today?
Huh? Who's there?
If you were Fatui, I imagine that you would be entitled to a generous reward from the Tsaritsa herself. But now, you're nothing but dross, and you're in my way. Where should I start? Well, I've never been one to beat around the bush, you know. But who could have possibly guessed that the god of Geo would mysteriously perish the very moment I arrived in Liyue, and that the Exuvia would subsequently be hidden away? If it weren't for that lovely little rite of parting ceremony you put together, it would have taken me a whole lot longer to get the information I needed.
Maldito.
Stopping the Mora mints, hiding away the Exuvia. The Chising are really pulling out all the stops this time.
So you've been planning to take the Gnosis from inside the Exuvia all along?
As one of the 11 Fatui Harbingers, it's my duty to see the will of the Tsaritsa fulfilled. She will get that which she desires. I'm not asking for your blessing, and there's nothing you can do to stop me anyway. The time for discussion and diplomacy has already passed. I mean, if it were up to me, I would have skipped that stage to begin with. But I'm willing to do as the Tsaritsa deems fit. Either way, we now come to my favorite part. A simple pleasure, and one that I am oh so delighted to be sharing with you. The battle.
The battle.
Battle? So you're the type that goes looking for trouble, huh?
You could say that. When Signora offended the deities outside the cathedral in Mondstadt, she swiftly left the scene once her mission was accomplished. Instead of confronting you directly, she chose to rely on the snow and ice to make her escape. She wouldn't want the knights to come running towards the sound of battle now, would she? When she faces a worthy opponent, she will prioritize her mission, weigh the outcomes, and consider the consequences of her actions. But as for me, the greatest pleasure of being a harbinger lies in crossing blades with strong opponents.
We won't let what happened in Mondstadt ever happen again!
Oh, so you intend to fight me? Good. I won't kill you, Traveler. I'll just play along, to feel the thrill of battle. Besides, you could never defeat me, not even in your wildest dreams. But hey, try to relish the fight anyway, because if you ask me, without that, what else is there? Fighting talk, I love it! Now let's see you live up to it.
Ah, por el
This chance
bandido.
is hard to come by, so show me all you've got. So very few ever get the chance to square off with the Fatui Harbinger. So come now,
Es de
amuse me,
agua.
and don't you dare disappoint.
Pero no le va a hacer nada a este. Necesitaba hielo. ¿Cómo iba a saber?
Let it rain! Not so hard! As a good knight should.
Cowering already? Not bad, not bad.
Windblade!
Ay, se movió el maldito.
Passable effort.
No, pues necesito.
You're wide open.
Bueno, iba a necesitar un eléctrico y el de hielo, pero creo que sí podemos.
Passable effort. A fine opportunity. Celestial Voyager.
¡Órale! Está padrísimo.
Go, go, Baron! That's cheating!
Try this.
Let's dance!
Come.
¿Por qué te alejas? No
A
seas
clear shot.
pussy. Ay, cabrón, una ballenota.
Bet you can't keep up with me!
Careful now.
Perro.
Passable effort. How unbecoming.
Windblade!
Bling bling. Guárdame este fierrito. Ay, cabrón. Ah, qué pussy.
Ready, steady,
Wide open. Celestial Voyager.
Wow.
Cowering already?
Ow! Eek! Yeah! Get him!
How unbecoming.
Not so hard! That's cheating!
Hijo de la chingada.
Cowering already? Not bad, not bad. Not bad. You've got a trick. Haha, good. No wonder Senora was so wary
No
of you.
manches.
Well, that just means I can go all out. Brace yourself. This is about to get tough. Now, show me what you can do against the might of a Harbinger.
Twin blade. Ah! Oh,
Got you.
Necesito que ya esté
go,
bien.
Barbara, go!
Raging tide. Break.
No, no te vayas a morir.
Let's dance.
Got you.
Leave it all to me. Yeah.
This. Break.
Uy, cabrón.
No use hiding back there.
I'll protect us. Yeah, ink.
All you do is run. I'll crush you.
Yeah.
Break. No use hiding back there.
Yeah.
Got you.
Let's dance.
Cálmate, vato.
Yeah, ink. Go, go, Barret Bunny.
Got you.
Bueno, nada más si le doy. Chingada madre.
Eat this.
Perro desgraciado.
Raging tide.
Yeah, I'll protect us. Get it.
Break. Got you.
I'll race you there. Go, go, Barret Bunny.
Las animales.
My turn. This. Break. Crush you.
Ah, chingada, si yo le había pegado.
Not bad. Your swordsmanship is quite impressive. But that's about as far as you'll get. Didn't think you had that card hidden up your sleeve.
You were just playing us to get close to the Exuvia!
Oh, quiet down. Stop acting like some wide-eyed recruit. You've seen this world. You of all people should know. This should have been expected! Well then, I'll be taking more Axis Gnosis now! I see. Well, this is most unexpected. You beat me to it, didn't you?
Not bad. But this is going to cost you! Yeah!
Let's dance.
You got to the Gnosis ahead of me, didn't you? Did you simply move faster? Or did you leak the information regarding the Golden House to me on purpose? No matter. Hand the Gnosis over, now. Don't make me take it from you.
We didn't take it!
Uy, güey. Se me dio.
Let the show begin.
Despacio que llevo prisa. Ay, cabrón. Chin. No seas mamón.
I'll protect us.
Pinche vallenota.
Die here.
Not so hard! La 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 la.
Ay, cabrón. Vamos a ver si nos podemos acercar. Sí, y ya sé cómo.
Steady as stone.
Die here.
I must leave no stone unturned. Ugh, I missed a spot. I'll catch up. Leave it all to me.
Ay, no lo alcancé. No escape. Oye, se me durmió la mano.
Let the show begin. Ouchie. Yeah. Yeah. Go, Barbara, go! Yeah.
Die here.
Yeah. Yeah. Windblade.
die here.
Go, Barbara, go! Yeah. Let the show begin. Oh.
Dull.
Be gone! Look! Child's back to normal again!
Well then, time to cool off.
Mighty.
It seems the burden of the foul legacy transformation was too great for my body. I lacked the opportunity to think this through. And now that I consider the matter more carefully, you never had any chance of beating me to the Gnosis. You had no connection to the Gnosis, no matter where it had been taken.
That's what we've been trying to tell you! We didn't take it!
Your show of ability today far surpasses that of Signora's initial assessment of you in Mondstadt. Tell me, how could that be? You already know the answer, don't you? I can see it in your eyes. But if that is a secret you wish to keep, I guess I'll just have to curb my curiosity. This battle has already left me satisfied. Anyone who strives as I do to grow stronger shall be called a friend. Even if our friendship can only be shown in battle against one another.
Pretty sure that's not the normal way to make friends.
Unfortunately, I must bring this amiable conversation to an end. My quest still beckons. Given that the Gnosis wasn't taken by anyone, then we must look once again to the beginning. Perhaps it was never in the Exuvia to begin with. In fact, it might be that the Exuvia was just a diversion of sorts.
What? So you mean that...
Yes, it appears so. Interesting to say the least. It seems that the guardian deity of the capital of commerce is also well versed in little maneuvers beyond the boundaries of contracts. As such, we must now look to our backup plan.
backup plan?
I had hoped it would never come to this, for the weak will be swept away in the process. The truth is, the world belongs to those who pursue strength. I seldom willingly involve myself with the weak. Unfortunately, we cannot be picky about our methods as Fatui Harbingers. Children must all learn to eat their vegetables sometime.
So what are you planning to do?
I will awaken the god that lies dormant beneath Guyon's stone forest.
A god?
Osial, overlord of the Vortex, who was defeated by Morax, the Geo-Archon in the Archon War, and who has remained pinned beneath the waves by the Geo-Archon's stone spears ever since. If such an ancient god were to be unleashed upon Liyue Harbor, defenseless without the protection of its deity, do you think the cunning Rex Lapis would just stand aloof and watch the ensuing destruction?
But the Archon War ended 2,000 years ago. How can an ancient god appear in a world now overseen by the Seven?
Simple. I've already prepared the means to awaken it.
Hey, those are sigils of permission. Oh, Paimon remembers now. The Fatui have been researching them.
Indeed. The one that was given to you was just a byproduct of our research. With the power of so many sigils of permission concentrated in one place, along with that which was bestowed upon me as a harbinger by our Tsaritsa, breaking the subduing might of the Geo-Archon spears for a time should be no obstacle. Using the powers of ancient gods in such a situation fails to interest me, and is largely against my principles. But knowing that such an action will not only force the Geo-Archon to show its hand, but you as well, that makes matters a little more intriguing. Let's see. Will the nation that has lost its deity be swallowed up by an ancient malice once more? If you wish to drown together with the people of Liyue, you're free to stay and enjoy the show.
Huh? He's already gone. That guy is fast. What's going on?
Qué buenos gráficos.
Paimon's exhausted. If we hadn't happened to see the Jade Chamber flying over just as we came out of the Golden House, we really wouldn't have known which way to go. Did we make it in time? Is the Overlord of the Vortex still in the sea? It hasn't destroyed Liyue yet, has it?
What are you doing here?
Huh? Hold on. It's the Adepti. What are you doing on the Jade Chamber? Paimon thought you were arguing with the Chising. Is the fighting over?
Faced with a calamity of such magnitude, we have agreed to put our differences aside for now and unite against this common enemy.
Oh, Paimon gets it. So how do you plan to defend Liyue? Just seeing this Overlord of the Vortex guy puts a pit in Paimon's tummy, even from all the way out here.
It's not just you. We've got new Millelith recruits who can't even stand at attention without shaking. The force of an ancient god's presence seems to be too much for ordinary people to handle. Which is why we must stop that monster before it gets any closer to Liyue Harbor.
So the Archon War was fought 2,000 years ago against enemies like that thing? Now that's scary. So will the power of the Chising, Millelith, and Adepti gathered here be enough to stop that god?
We've already discussed this together, and our conclusion is... not necessarily.
What? But all of you were supposed to be the guardians of Liyue. Can't you think of something?
One certainly could.
Huh?
The Chising did once research the matter of the Guizhong Ballista when it piqued their fancy. And as fate would have it, one who did craft the Guizhong Ballista with one's own hands is here. For what could you mortals ever learn of Adepti mechanisms? Yet, it would take one, but a little tinkering to turn this ballista into an engine of war beyond your wildest thoughts.
I suppose this is one blessing from the Adepti that we should be thankful for. So be it. We shall use the upgraded Guizhong Ballista to fight off that god. All the Adepti here can lend their strength to man it. We haven't a moment to spare. Our battle begins now.
Yep.
Ay, cabrón. Venadillo.
The Fatui! They're attacking the Guizhong Ballista!
The three Adepti are manning the Guizhong Ballista. Do not let the Fatui disturb their work!
All able Millelith, with me!
Let's go help too!
We Adepti have not faced a god in several millennia. Let one see what you're made of then. What strength remains within you? One wishes to witness.
My work. Finished.
Killjoy, we've only just begun. That all you got? I miscalculated. Looks like I went too far.
That is Osial's divine power. I am very familiar with it. Be careful not to get hit.
The Fatui! Their attacks are unrelenting!
How daring. Snezhnai's diplomats will answer for this afterward. Every last one.
No excuse for slacking.
The ancient god's attacking again! There are so many Fatui too! We kill them!
Were you about to say we can't hold them, children?
Huh?
Don't lose heart. Here, take this.
This is adeptal energy. That light from your body. It's like the time in Julian Cars. Wow, it's Madame Ping's shockwave. This granny's really strong.
Finished.
Miscalculated.
You're not going anywhere.
Ay, cabrón, me congeló.
Cold cut.
With the blood of the Chelian, I guard you against evil. Cast your fear of injury by the wayside, and fight with all your might. I too did this during the Archon War.
So this is what Ganya's like in a fight.
My name means swiftness. Take my power and run as I do.
We're going too fast. I'll protect us.
Child, you are strong in body and spirit. Perhaps you can withstand 3 forms of adeptal energy at once.
This will hurt a little. Please bear with us.
Once you've adapted, try to use them in battle.
I'll catch up.
Yes.
As a dutiful maid would. I'll catch up. I must leave no stone unturned. Yes.
You're gonna sweat.
Blink.
No excuse for slacking. My work. Finished.
Let me amuse myself.
Exercise caution. I fear that the god's power has reached its peak. In other words, if we hold here, there's nothing worse to come, right?
Órale, ¿por qué no le pega?
There you are, eavesdropper. Windblade! Prepare to be blown away! Shine.
The Fatui's numbers are thinning!
Fight on, comrades! Once we finish this lot off, the Adepti will be able to deal with the god in peace.
Cabrón.
The interlopers are no more. Now we may commit ourselves fully.
It's working! We just need to keep this up!
Be careful now.
The Guizhong Ballista is destroyed. Without its covering fire, retaliation shall be difficult.
But the Jade Chamber is our last line of defense. We can't give another inch, no matter what.
I have another idea.
What do you mean, Lady Ningguang?
I'll sacrifice the Jade Chamber.
What is the meaning of this?
I understand.
Traveler, lend me a hand. Farewell, old friend. Goodbye for now. Let us meet again in the future.
No.
Is it finally over?
The ominous aura of that monster has indeed begun to fade. The effects of the Sigil of Permission last but a short time. It will be some time before the Overlord of the Vortex can make any waves again.
We are indebted to you for your assistance. If the Adepti hadn't happened to be here, the future of Liyue Harbor would surely have been in great jeopardy.
Save your flattery. We didn't just happen to be here. Surely you won't pretend to have forgotten the reason for which we came.
Come now. There's no need for such harsh words, Cloud Retainer. I've heard that when Ningguang began learning to do business, she had already started setting aside part of her then limited income in preparation for building the Jade Chamber. At first, it was only the size of a small room, but with continued expansion it has become the palace that lies before you now. It is a testament to Ningguang's entire life, both as a businesswoman and as the backbone of the Liyue Qixing. Seeing the Jade Chamber destroyed in the defense of Liyue means much to her, To me, such cooperation and sacrifice deserves at least some recognition, don't you agree?
Well, I was really hoping you would say that such sacrifice could at least be used as some leverage in our negotiations. Thank you all for hearing me out. We know very well why the Adepti came here today. But please forgive us. We cannot yield to your wishes.
Oh?
3,700 years. According to our records, the Adepti signed a contract with Rex Lapis to protect Liyue 3,700 years ago. Even to this very day, Liyue and its lands have stood the test of time, immovable as stone, just as it was thousands of years before. This is truly no small feat. But that does not mean that the Liyue of today is the same city as it was all those years ago. Do not merely cast your protective gaze upon the land. Instead, focus your sights on our city and each of the citizens that dwell within it.
Are you questioning our means of protecting Liyue?
I mean no offense. I simply hope that our Adepti forebears would see Liyue in a new light.
Forebears, you say? One doubts you would be fit to be part of such a lineage.
This morning, Rex Lapis appeared to me in a dream.
What?
In the dream, I yearned to tell him that we Qixing, though mortal, are equally bound to the contract. Each passing generation of the Qixing leaves many things of value to be inherited by the next generation. I also thought to tell him how the past generations of Qixing had strove under his rule to survive in our mortal world, establishing a network of contracts which has since come to be known as trade. But I dared not speak. I could only gaze at him in silence until the moment I awoke.
Oh, Ningguang.
Yet another perspective. What are you trying to say, Outlander?
Right! That's something that happened in Mondstadt. It's a story about the Four Winds and the people of the Animal Archon. The Animal Archon sought to quell the strife between the two sides, because he believed that such conflict would only scar the hearts of both, and that nothing good would come of it.
Each of the 7 nations has its own scars from the past.
Though your point is the very height of simplicity. As Adepti, we've become a laughingstock, to be chastised thus by an outlander who has lent us such succor.
All right, all right. Didn't Ningguang suggest that we should focus on the city and each of its citizens? I know I already have, so why not see for yourselves?
I apologize for appearing in full armor. I am afraid I cannot show the proper courtesies.
And who are you?
I am Feng Yan, a sergeant of the Millelith. I have come to extend my thanks to the Adepti. I thought this battle would perhaps be my last. But thanks to the aid of the Adepti, our forces were not as badly battered as I feared we might be. Although I am a mere mortal soldier, I promise to hold the line and never betray the grace given to us by the illuminated Adepti this day.
Huh? Why does everyone look so down? Didn't we just beat that big monster?
Weren't you frightened, dear? It was quite the predicament.
I wasn't afraid. All the strong Millelith guards were there, and those powerful heroes with their visions were there. Everyone was there. When danger is near, everyone always protects me. And the rest of the time, they make fun toys and tasty snacks and loads of things that make the harbor so pretty. Thanks for protecting Liyue Harbor. Please come visit us for the next lantern rite.
Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to participate.
Huh?
Because we are Adepti.
Oh, okay. It must be hard being an Adeptus. Oh.
You see, this is what Liyue is like today. The country of contracts is grateful to the Adepti for their protection. But it is no longer necessary for the city to rely on the Adepti's power to solve every little niggling matter. Although their blood is weak, there is still strength to be found in those we call mortals. The time of contracts between gods and Liyue has long since passed. Now is the time of contracts between Liyue and its people.
Seeing the port around us now, it is hard not to feel a bit out of place. Wouldn't you say so, Cloud Retainer?
Your line of inquiry is askew. One did not spearhead this expedition to Liyue Harbor.
Seems like the Adepti have had a change of heart.
Let us return now.
Eager to leave, Conqueror of Demons.
Yes, one understands what the Conqueror of Demons means. The city of Liyue has changed much after our long separation. One fears that by the time one finally grasps the new contracts of Liyue, you humans would have once again changed the place beyond recognition. Fair enough. Away we shall, and return whence we came.
Since we Adepti have consensus, then one shall persist no further. But how will we ensure that the Liyue Chising will not simply exploit their power once we depart? In my view, that is still a thing to be guarded against.
All right, Mooncarver, you needn't worry. It seems to me that this right of supervision is best left to the people of Liyue.
Looks like the conflict between humans and Adepti was avoided. All's well that ends well, huh? Oh, right! It's nice that we've got peace and all, but we're forgetting one thing. Child wanted to unleash the god so he could lure Rex Lapis out. But we were able to handle the Overlord of the Vortex on our own, so Rex Lapis never showed up. Oh, and speaking of that, don't we still need to get to the bottom of that Archon's death, too? Paimon doesn't get it. But isn't the strongest lead we have the Adepti-less rite of parting that we're organizing? No idea where Young Lee's gone. Let's ask for him at Wangshem Funeral Parlor.
Pollitos. A ver, vamos a ver acá. Sí, si llegamos a los 50 seguidores, voy a hacer un bailecillo. Muchas gracias, Prax. Muchas gracias por hacerte fan. Bienvenidos todos los espectadores. Si todavía no me siguen, denle ahí en el botoncito de seguir, no sean malos. Así me ayudan a cumplir mi meta y a mejorar mis directos. Muchas gracias por estar aquí en una emisión más de Genshin Impacto. Vamos a seguir el camino amarillo. ¿Qué hay aquí? Son nuevos desafíos. Nuevos desafíos por hacer. Ay, tengo que hacer estas misiones de encargos diarias. Ahorita vamos a por ellas. Cabrón, ya no pasé. ¿Para dónde es? Oh,
I'll keep this close.
is this an answer of this world?
The key here is consumer psychology.
Chinga.
The key here is consumer psychology. Feel free to use stock until we have some new items.
¿En dónde está?
So very much.
Aquí está.
Is there anything I can do for you two? I'm afraid that Wangsheng funeral parlor isn't in the best state to receive guests.
We've come to see Zhongli. Could you please tell him we're here?
Unfortunately, Zhongli isn't here at the moment. It seems he went to Northland Bank.
Doesn't the Northland Bank belong to the Fatui? Last time we saw Zhongli was before we went to the Golden House. Do you think he doesn't know about the attack on Liyue? Visiting the Fatui at a time like this could only mean more trouble. We had better go and make sure that everything is okay.
You call this cooperation between Harbingers? Cooperation involves communication, you know.
Don't take it to heart, child. Besides, aren't you happy that you got to skip the formalities and bring chaos to the land? I'm sure you must have enjoyed that. Oh, it seems that some of your friends have arrived.
Hey, it's Zhongli and Child. And... yep.
It's you two. I believe we've met once before. In the city of Bards, was it? I'm glad you still remember my name. Ah, right. I imagine that it must have been rather hard to forget watching helplessly as something precious was snatched away from your friend.
Well, if it isn't you two. This is our first time seeing each other since Liyue was nearly wiped off the map. This is certainly a bit awkward, wouldn't you say?
Paimon knew that we should never have trusted a Fatui Harbinger.
Oh, now don't say that. Sure, I may have misled you, but I never had anything against you personally. Besides, I thought we were getting along quite well together, didn't you? Except for that little tussle we had at the end. Nothing personal. We just have different views, that's all. Of course, you may very well hold this against me, but that's up to you. The real deceivers here are Senora and Zhongli. Curse them for leading me on. So actually, I think...
Stop wasting time, child. There'll be plenty of time to chat once I'm through here. You remember the agreement, Morax. Now, if you would be so kind. The Gnosis, please.
What in the world are you talking about?
The contract is fulfilled. That which thou seeketh is now bestowed unto thee. For my promise is solid as stone.
How sanctimonious.
What? So you're the Lord of Chiao? No, wait! That's an exciting twist and all, but why give the Gnosis to the Fatui? Fatui!
I do not give it for free. I give it as agreed upon in the contract. For it is a matter solely between the Tsaritsa and I.
Yeah, you don't think you went a little bit too far with that whole fake death thing? Everyone was preparing the ceremony for you and splat! This big dragon falls out of the sky and all of Lyra goes into an uproar. Talk about a disaster.
Gathering all the forces that had been bubbling behind the scenes, and then stirring them together in a pot that was bound to boil over. That's what he wanted to see, am I right?
Wait, what?
Perhaps it's best that I explain. As you know, I've dwelt upon this world for more than 6,000 years. It is now 3,700 years ago that I founded Liyue, together with the Adepti. Even boulders that can withstand whirlpools will erode with the passing of time. I kept convincing myself that cracks had not begun to form, and that the end of my time had not yet come. Until one drizzly day, as I was strolling along the harbor, I heard a merchant tell one of his workers, "You finished your duties. Go ahead and call it a day." I stood motionless among the crowds, asking myself, have I already finished my duties?
Oh, Zhongli.
But as I began to consider relinquishing my divine role, I soon discovered that many reasons still remained to not hastily depart. Was Liyue, the city I had dwelt in for so long, already prepared to enter its next age? I decided that a test was needed in order to reveal the answer. So I feigned my own death, and gathered the cast of Child, the Adepti, and the Liyue Qixing to play their roles together on the stage that was Liyue. That's right, which is why I continued to safeguard the Gnosis until now.
So you mean that if the chaos ever reached the point of no return, you would simply appear and use your divine powers to bring Liyue back under control?
Of course, and it would have been all too easy for him too. Just as a child quickly matures after losing their parents, so has Liyue matured when faced with the death of its deity.
In the end, the resolution to all that has transpired was even more satisfactory than I could have hoped for. Take the Adepti, for instance. Owing to their years of seclusion, they were the least informed. Yet when faced with a crisis, they commendably showed the greatest amount of restraint possible. Not only did they manage to cooperate with the Qixing, but in the end, they even made efforts to understand the hearts of the people. Credit is also due to Signora, the emissary dispatched by the Cryo-Archon to fulfill our contract. At my request, she kept everything she knew in strict confidence. This despite the eavesdropping ears of her colleague, Child. This meant I could remain as Zhongli, even having the chance to fulfill the age-old traditions of Liyue in this mortal form. Thank you for joining me on this journey, Traveler. All of these things turned out as I had planned. There is only one thing that I had not anticipated, and that was the conduct of the Liyue Qixing. I had expected them to do no more than the Adepti, to come to the defense of Liyue. But when all was said and done, they seized the opportunity to supplant Liyue's divine protectors, and used the subsequent power vacuum left by my death to quickly gain complete control of Liyue.
Huh? That doesn't sound good at all.
On the contrary, I think it is excellent. I had always feared that it was too soon for them to take over from me. And it was also that which I longed for the most. As such, this is the best parting gift anyone could have given this god of old.
Hey, what about me? Doesn't anyone feel the least bit of remorse for deceiving me? You've practically kept me in the dark.
I think that thanks would be more appropriate. You certainly played no small part in all of this, wreaking havoc and turning the city upside down. The Lord of Geo ought to thank you for your performance, if anything. If you hadn't created the pressure of a battle between mortals, adepti, and a god, the lump of coal resting in the hands of the Geo-Archon, Liyue would never have been able to become a dazzling diamond of a city.
Huh? Just whose side are you on, mocking me like that? Are you itching for a fight? Be that as it may, you've come out of this as the hero of Liyue. I, on the other hand, will be forever prescribed as a disturber of the peace, no?
Well then, with the Gnosis in my possession, I have no use for such idle chatter. We should return to Zapoljarny Palace and seek an audience with Her Majesty, the Tsaritsa. Come, child.
Fine. I'll meet you there later. I'm not sharing a boat with the likes of you.
Do as you wish.
Now then, is there anything else you wish to ask me?
Right! As Zhongli always told us, a good trade is a fair trade. Paimon has no idea what could be a good trade for a Gnosis.
Realistically speaking, there is no such thing.
Huh?
However, I am the god of contracts. For thousands of years, I have made countless contracts. If the deal was of no benefit, then I certainly would not be inclined to agree to it. My agreement with the Cryo-Archon will be the last of my contracts as the Geo-Archon. My contract to end all contracts. As for the bargaining chip that the Tsaritsa used to balance the scales, uncover that answer for yourself in your future journeys.
Paimon can't... So Zhongli, what sort of contract did you...
One of the clauses of our contract was not to divulge any of its contents.
Câteva.
Today's the day of the rite of parting. Although the star of the show is fake, we've spent so much time trying to organize it, it would be a real shame not to go there now.
You know that god from the ocean couldn't have just shown up out of nowhere. I mean, it's been 2,000 years since Rex Lapis subdued it.
Yes, and to think that this happened right on the heels of the incident with Rex Lapis, too.
Say, do you think the person who assassinated our lord and released that evil god might have been one and the same?
Now that you mention it, that's very possible. I mean, it all fits together. That person must have colluded with the evil god to harm Rex Lapis. Still, what sort of supernatural prowess must this person possess to be able to do such things?
Ah, forget it. Guessing's no use to us. Look, the Millilith over there looks like he's about to make an announcement. Let's hear what the Ministry of Civil Affairs has to say first.
Oh, well, since we're going through with this rite of parting, I guess it means that those rumors hit the nail on the head.
So Rex Lapis is really... But they didn't catch the culprit, did they?
Oh, come on. Do you think that the assassin could have been a normal person? You know what I think. I don't think any of the gossip on the streets you hear from those shady types is worth anything. There's only one real possibility in my mind. I've heard that the assassin was that Fatui fellow. Youngish, pretty high in rank. I think they called him Child.
Fatui? They certainly are very suspicious. Who knows what those greedy, crooked folks...
Shh! Lower your voice. If the Fatui catch you in their sights, Rex Lapis won't be around to protect you this time.
Please be mindful of your personal safety.
Hear ye all! The Qixing's words. Though a dragon soars ageless as the mountains, it too must return to dust. This is common knowledge. Gods and Adepti live glorious lives, but both light and shadow have their season. So too must they face divinely appointed trials. Rumors and hearsay abound on the streets that Rex Lapis was murdered. Now, let the truth be revealed. Having been thwarted in his trial, Rex Lapis's soul has recouped the celestial heights. He beseeches the people of Liyue to grieve not, and to let not their hearts be saddened. Nor are they to believe street-born rumors, or indulge in baseless speculation.
Paimon needs a translation on what the Qixing's announcement said. So that's how they're spinning it. Something feels off. Why would they suddenly give up looking for the murderer? Not to mention how this excuse sounds like something they just made up on the spot. Could the Qixing already have known that Rex Lapis wasn't dead? But Zhongli said that neither they nor the Adepti knew anything. Did Zhongli tell them in secret after his gnosis changed hands? Exactly, right? Ooh, seems like the rite of parting has been going on for a while now. Let's go have a look. Look, it's Ningguang and Keqing. Are they saying something? Are their speeches over?
As said previously, Rex Lapis's soul returning to the heavens is the end of the contract. And it is also the end of an era.
3,700 years of contracts burnt and reduced to ash.
We, the people of Liyue, were indeed prosperous. But blinded by our prosperity, we forgot that time can be pitiless.
The long, unending dream of our Archon walking among us.
Now that we have awoken from our dream, we must learn to say farewell. Will you stand now that we have awoken from our dream? We must learn to say farewell. Will you stand with us as we re-establish our contracts? As we build a new age of prosperity?
So concludes the words of Her Eminence the Tianquan. Does Her Eminence the Yuheng have anything to add?
Huh? Is she looking this way?
Traveler.
Yikes! She really is looking our way!
Is that the traveler who they say defeated the ancient god?
So young. The Liyue Qixing always repay their debts. And as you have heard, our eyes see far and our reach is long. Name your price. You deserve that much.
Whoa!
Well, could you help me put up some missing person posters?
Rex Lapis. Oh, Rex Lapis. Now that I think about it, if everyone's of the same mind as me, Perhaps mementos for Rex Lapis might be the best short-term business opportunity.
As for the mortals and adepti of Liyue, what shape shall our relationship take from now on?
And to think I'd put my best perfume on before coming here, thinking you'd like it. But it seems as if those perfumes really were meant to be offered to Rex Lapis. Well, that's fine. Suffer no rivals in love, they say. And that's 3 gone in 1 stroke.
Qué locochona.
Hey, Zhongli! Look at this. Everyone in Liyue is caught up in their emotions, thinking that they'll never see Rex Lapis again. And here you are looking all relaxed.
Why would I not feel more at ease after laying down the burden I have borne for 3,700 years? Right. If the 2 of you can spare the time, I should treat you to a meal at the Shinya kiosk.
Ha! That sounds like big talk, Zhongli. Paimon might have believed you if you were treating us to some 3rd round knockout, but you'd have to pay out your nose just to stand inside Shinya kiosk. Are you sure you can afford it?
You're right. I do like the Mora. As the Rex Lapis Morax, I can easily create Mora. But since I have chosen to walk this earth as the mortal Zhongli, I should abide by the same rules that mortals do. When I was journeying with you, though I still had the Gnosis in hand, I knew that I must soon retire from my role as an Archon. So I had to rehearse a little for my new life.
Oh, no wonder. Paimon gets it now. You didn't look at the price tags when we were spending because you've never had to. But since you weren't used to not being able to just make more Mora as and when you wanted to, you had to try becoming a parasite to society who lives off of other people's credit.
Well, we were only spending Fatui money. You don't have to say it like that. In the City of Commerce, we do not merely exchange money or goods. We also exchange knowledge, memories, and foresight, as well as positions, roles, and lives. The Archon Morax could never experience life as the true mortal Zhongli could, no matter how many times he descended to be with his people. I must thank you for that. I will treasure the memories that I made as Zhongli, traveling the streets of Liyue with you. That is true. But there is no journey that does not end. No meetings without partings.
Paimon thinks that we should make a move and continue our search for the 7.
I fear that continuing your journey may be difficult. The nation that neighbors Liyue by sea, Inazuma, is presently closed. Yes, the nation has been closed by order of its deity, the Electro-Archon Ball. And just as the people of Liyue preferred to call me Rex Lapis, she too goes by another name among locals in Inazuma.
Paimon thinks we've heard that one before. Raiden?
That is the case. And since Raiden is also the Shogun of Inazuma, people...
That said, though people at the wharf were saying that the situation in Inazuma is very tense, Paimon doesn't remember that always being the case. It wasn't that bad last year. Zhongli, since you're Rex Lapis, shouldn't you know something about what's happening there? Just how did Inazuma become a closed nation?
It's because of visions.
Visions?
When faced with circumstances beyond their control, Humans often bemoan their lack of power. But if a person shows true strength of will at a desperate and fateful moment in their life, the gods will look upon them with favor. This is what visions are. Magical foci bestowed upon those who have been acknowledged by the gods.
Uh-huh. That's how people in Teyvat see it.
But starting from last year, the Raiden Shogun began promulgating the Vision Hunt Decree.
Vision Hunt Decree?
Yes. It was an order to seize all visions within Inazuma's borders, and to inlay them upon the hands of the statue of the omnipresent god.
They want to seize visions. But why? Aren't visions blessings from the gods?
I should think that in the Raiden Shogun's eyes, it is precisely because they are divine blessings that they should be under the sole dominion of divinity.
Whoa, that's harsh.
The Animo Archon is the god of freedom, and the Geo Archon is the god of contracts. For her part, the Raiden Shogun is the god of eternity. It seems as though she has finally decided to eliminate any unstable elements that could pose a threat to her eternal realm. The fact that even I, the oldest of the seven, have now passed away, will only strengthen her resolve to pursue eternity. Knowing her, she must have again quoted that adage she is most fond of when proclaiming that decree to her people. 7 ideals for 7 gods. And of these, eternity is nearest unto the heavenly principles. All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? Ah, that was a good one. Failing a divine trial. How they came up with that excuse. That said, the reason why the Qixing were so eager to resolve the incident and stop, I hinted as much to the Adepti as well. How did I accomplish that, you ask? Have you ever heard of this particularly convenient Adepti art known as gifting dreams and visions? All right then. Was there anything else you wished?
Yeah, about that.
These are indeed false accusations. But I've heard that Ningguang is busy milking that for all it's worth on the foreign relations front at the moment. Those poor Snezhnayan diplomats. All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? The time of the Adepti has long passed. If even the Liyue Qixing, Kuching is absolutely right in saying this. Now, though I did laud Ningguang's desire for power, could the original person who brought up the idea of seizing power have been... All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know?
That's right. Zhongli, now that you don't have your gnosis, what's going to happen to all the Mora in Teyvat? Since Morax is dead, are they all just gonna disappear? Also, isn't the Golden House the only mint in the entire continent? Well,
the Mora present now will not vanish. But the Golden House will indeed have to cease operations for a lengthy period of time, since creating Mora requires the use of the Geo Archon's power.
This is terrible! We're all about to run out of Mora! The world is coming to an end!
Yes, this is indeed a major issue from a financial standpoint. Well, I suppose we'll just leave such troublesome matters to the Liyue Qixing to debate.
Then, did you at least set some private funds aside for yourself?
Oh, a private fund. This does seem like a good, logical, common-sense idea. It's a shame.
What's a shame?
It's a shame that I didn't think of it at the time. All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? Well then, I suppose you'll have to find a way to get inside this closed nation. Have patience. I suspect that some serendipity must first come into play.
children, come, come. You've arrived at just the right moment. I've been looking for you.
Oh, what is it, Granny? Need any help?
Oh, no. You've done so much for Liyue Harbor already. I could hardly ask for more. In fact, my old friends and I have been putting our heads together to think of what sort of gift we might give you in return.
A gift? For Paimon?
Oh, child, you are so very modest. Uncommonly so, even. But you mustn't decline this gift. I simply won't allow it. When you traversed my old teapot in search of the cleansing bell, I heard your little friend mention that you often camp out in the wilds. That simply won't do. Especially since I imagine you still have a very long journey ahead of you. Fortunately, I have not yet grown so old as to see my subspace creation abilities atrophy. Oh, did my friends never mention that to you? Well then, it is a blessing we old folks once received from Rex Lapis, part of our illumination, if you will. I will not go into too much detail, but subspace creation is the ability to create a small, autonomous pocket world. The teapot that you entered previously was a little trinket created using that ability.
So, in the eyes of an Adeptus, creating a magic teapot world is just child's play, huh?
Oh, indeed, the teapot is nothing to boast of. One such as myself must depart from this realm to create a world of one's own. Rex Lapis, on the other hand, moved mountains and seas. That is what one might call an exercise of true power.
True power.
But that's enough nostalgia for now. The gift that I have prepared for you just requires a few final materials to add the finishing touch.
That's right! Finding stuff's what we're good at, after all.
Oh, settle down now, children. There's no need for you to go running hither and thither. What's more, I doubt that you would know how to find the materials I am searching for. Some of them are very rare indeed these days. Well, for starters, I require some shimmer soil from the banks of Dihua Marsh. Back in the day, it could only be found where the glazed lilies thrived most profusely. You would have to dig downward, following the roots of the glazed lilies, and if you were lucky enough, you just might find a small patch of shimmer soil there. But almost no one has been able to find shimmer soil in this manner since Dihua Marsh came to be the way it is today. Even more difficult to find is smaragdus jadeite, which must be chiseled from the rock of the chasm. Or so it used to be. Ever since the Blackcliff Forge opened for business, they've slowly but surely stripped the mines all but completely bare of it. In any case, smaragdus jadeite is an Adepti treasure, and the Adeptal power within is not something that most humans can withstand. Extended contact with it is, in fact, harmful to humans. Goodness knows if that child will succeed in finding these items.
Well, since you're an Adeptus, Granny, the person you asked for help, they must be an Adeptus too, right?
Yes. I suppose she does count as an Adeptus.
She counts? How come there are so many Adepti in Liyue Harbor? We seem to bump into them all the time. It feels like even when you go out to eat, you could be sitting next to an Adeptus and never even know it.
Oh, maybe so. Who can say? A fair few of my old friends are rather fond of mundane mortal life, after all.
I'm back, Granny. Oh, I don't believe we've met.
Allow me to do the honors. This child here is Yen Fei. She's the one helping run some errands for me. Yenfei, I believe you've already heard of the Traveler and her traveling companion.
Of course, who hasn't? Much has been written about you in the Millilith's records. You became one of Liyue's most wanted after the Millilith marked you as a suspect following the incident at the Rite of Dissension. After which, you fought off the Millilith at Julian Karst and made contact with the Fatui. Before finally defeating an ancient god together with Granny and her associates, and subsequently being cleared of any and all suspicion by the Chiseng. What a shame. A shame that we didn't meet sooner. If we had, well, I can't say that I would have been able to clear you of suspicion immediately, but it certainly would have been less, embarrassing for you. Allow me to introduce myself once more. I'm Yenfei, a legal advisor. Got a legal problem? You can come right to me. Oh, yes, here's my business card. You'll find it has my contact details and office address. Keep it handy. If you have an urgent issue, just leave me a note at this address. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I offer a very generous discount for first-time customers.
All right, Yenfei, all right. Let's get to the business at hand. I do not think these two are in any dire need of legal assistance at the moment. You'll have to excuse Yenfei. She's always been like this. Ever the talkative one when it comes to her own affairs.
Paimon was gonna ask the same question. You seem really different from the ones we've met before.
An Adeptus? I guess. Kinda. My old man said he was one anyway. He mentioned that he once campaigned with Rex Lapis for a long old time, and then after that was all over, he went back and married my mom. They had me, and once I was all grown up, the two of them upped and left on a journey, leaving me with Granny here.
Well, that's a bit casual for an Adeptus. Aren't you guys supposed to sign solemn contracts to protect Liyue Harbor and all that stuff? What do you mean he just went back to get married?
Well, my dad did say that he'd talked it through with Rex Lapis, and that he was fine with it. Even contributed towards the wedding gift, apparently. Anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. So, Granny, I've gotten a hold of most of the stuff you asked for, except for Smaragdus Jadeite. I couldn't find any at all. The chasm's been sealed off, and there's just no way in. Couldn't secure any documentation either. Looks like the Ministry of Civil Affairs is serious about keeping it strictly locked down.
Is that so? But Smaragdus Jadeite is really rather essential. Yenfei, are you sure you can't find some other way? They have helped Liyue greatly, after all. It is only right that they are duly rewarded.
I know, Granny, you've told me 1,000 times already. Well, the chasm's definitely a no-go, but there's still a chance we can figure out some alternative means of procurement. Hold on a moment. Let me have a look.
Whoa, that's a really thick book. What kind of things do you write in there?
Commercial consultancy. Or Snezhnaya. Ah, found him. Krusel. A Snezhnayan merchant who once came to me with some legal queries on certain articles in the legal codices. If my memory serves, all of them had to do with rare ores. He mentioned that he was considering acquiring some Smaragdus Jadeite to make hairpins, and wanted to know if there were any legal ramifications that he should be aware of. Said he was planning to sell them in Snezhnaya. So, I guess I'll go look for him. With any luck, he'll have gotten his hands on some Smaragdus Jadeite, or might have an idea of where we can find some. Oh, you want to join me? I suppose that's no problem, but it's best if you just stand by and watch. If you try to get involved, you'll only risk placing yourself in legal jeopardy.
Wow, an Adeptus imploring us to avoid incurring legal liability. Best we be a little more careful than usual while we're with her.
Please be mindful of your personal safety.
A por Crossl.
You can't beat the atmosphere.
Hello, Mr. Crossell. How's business been?
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your advice, Miss Yanfei. What brings you here today?
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job. Now, I believe that the last time we met, you mentioned that you were looking to source some Smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins. Have there been any further developments on this front?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, in the end, I did acquire a small piece of Smaragdus jadeite and had it fashioned into a pair of hairpins. Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize. I've already rented them out to a lady named Zhi Qiao. If you'd like to inspect them, you may have to wait quite some time.
Wait, isn't Smaragdus jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about the hairpins getting damaged or lost while they're being rented out?
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because I signed a contract with Miss Zhi Qiao before renting them to her. The contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, she must compensate me for its full original value. In return, I included a clause that guarantees the Smaragdus jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times the item's value payable by me to Ms. Zhi Qiao in the event that it is shown to be a fake.
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false. Yes, these terms are very clear indeed.
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need. To ensure fairness, each of us has retained an original copy of the contract.
In that case, might you know where Miss Zhi Qiao lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have a look at the hairpins.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract. Here, I'll mark it on your map for you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Crossell. We'll be off now.
You can't beat the atmosphere here in Liyue.
One Win Bookhouse. Guess this is where we go to buy books in Liyue. Should we ask here if they have a copy of the Liyue volume of the Teyvat Travel Guide? It's...
Oh, whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me. Is there something I can help you with?
How do you do, Miss Zhi Qiao? We understand from Mr. Crossell that you recently rented a pair of hairpins from him. My associates and I are very interested in them. Would you mind letting us take a look at them?
The hairpins? I can't lend them to you right now. I've lost them. I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I hadn't even worn them yet. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value, there's no way I could come up with that amount of money on such short notice. My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering ever since the chasm was sealed off. We now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around, so we've been having to purchase some stock from other ore merchants to complete them. A big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity to mingle and discuss prices. That's what the hairpins were for, to keep up appearances. I can't have them looking down on me. But now that I've lost the hairpins, what will I do?
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of déjà vu?
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I haven't heard anything back from them yet.
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Miss Zhi Qiao, would you let me have a look at the rental contract you signed?
Huh? Well, I mean, sure, I have it right here. Here you are.
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? Maybe she can help Zhi Qiao somehow. True. Though surely there must be a win-win solution.
Right. I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay Mr. Crossell the original value of the hairpins as compensation for the loss. Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount of compensation must take current market prices into account. And given the rarity of Smaragdus Jadeite, I fear that the final amount of compensation may end up being significantly higher as a result.
Even higher? Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Chicho looks like she's about to faint.
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid into the hairpins.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so how exactly would we be... Whichever way you look at it, we've got to start by finding those hairpins.
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to check whether the Jadeite is genuine, would there?
Seems right.
Please. Please, Don't trouble yourselves over this. The fact is, I lost the item and I should pay compensation per the... However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants after all. It's vital that we keep our word and respect our contracts. Now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossell in the dark any longer. I'll go and inform him of the issue and then negotiate the amount of compensation.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But before that, I have some questions about the hairpins. So hold on a moment, Mr. Chow. When you first touched the hairpins, what did you feel?
What did I feel? Well, I remember that the gemstones set into the pins were perfectly smooth to the touch, like the finest quality jade. My family has seen much jade pass through its hands in the past, so I am quite certain of my judgment in this matter.
Smooth to the touch. No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things. Let's head over to Mr. Crossell's.
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With Miss Jiqiao in tow, too, I see. How are the hairpins? I trust you're quite satisfied with them?
About that.
You lost them? Are you serious? Do you have any idea how expensive they were?
I'm sorry. Truly I am. I'll pay the compensation as per our contract. Every last mora.
Mora? Do you have any idea what I had to go through to get my hands on that Smaragdus Jadeite? I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back. Since Miss Yanfei is here, I suppose we can just have her estimate the amount that needs to be paid.
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. Ah, yes, and if I may just confirm again, it was in fact genuine Smaragdus Jadeite inlaid into the hairpins, correct?
Of course! Genuine article guaranteed, or I pay back 10 times the value.
Alright, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the sum owed by Mr. Chow in compensation. Please wait here, Mr. Crossell.
Thank you very much. How could she lose my hairpins? She'd better pay every last mora that they're worth.
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Mr. Chow. I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can sit and talk in more detail.
You can't beat the atmosphere here in Leland.
Esta misión ha sido de puro bla bla bla. Pero pronto ya entraremos en acción.
Miss Yanfei, what is this about? Are you here to tell me how much I owe?
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins may not be Smaragdus Jadeite after all.
What do you mean? Are you implying that you already sneaked off and found them?
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. Let's just say I made some deductions. I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus Jadeite is found deep underground and contains very concentrated elemental energy. If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. It most certainly would not be smooth to the touch. Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins were in your possession?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time. Not even the slightest bit unwell. I didn't feel...
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier that there were elemental traces in Mr. Crossel's vicinity. If I have deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus Jadeite in his possession.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and expose his dirty scam right to his face!
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it. Eventually, he would find some argument to compel us to leave. And then, he'd throw the Smaragdus Jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. He would lose nothing. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist somewhere in this world.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them. Fortunately, I have far more elegant solutions at my disposal. I'll share them with you in due course.
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with problems like this, perhaps you could help me, Miss Yunfei.
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, can I ask you to please sign this contract?
Huh? Does there have to be a contract for everything? It feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone else we know.
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter into your capable hands if you will take it, Miss Yunfei.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now write your address here, and then sign on this page as well. And I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page. Finally, if you could just use this ink pad to make a handprint over here.
This contract has so many pages!
Alright, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look through and let me know if you have any questions.
I've had a read through. Everything checks out.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, it will actually be quite straightforward to resolve, once we've got some things squared away. I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which case, hopefully this should be quite the experience.
Miss Yunfei, I have to ask, why are you helping me?
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus Jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of geo-energy around Mr. Crossel, so perhaps he has, in fact, secured some. Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter, but either way, it's a lead. As long as we follow it, who knows? We might just be able to get our hands on some Smaragdus Jadeite. Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage, I won't stand for it. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... where can we find someone who processes ore? Ah, I've got it! Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of the Jade Mystery. He's a professional when it comes to working with stone and ore. If Mr. Crossel had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.
Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to... Oh, it's you, Miss Yanfei. Is something the matter? Surely not more spurious claims that my jade betting is rigged and no one can ever win? Oh, I swear on all that is sacred.
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnyan merchant named Crossel enlisted your ore processing services recently by any chance?
A Snezhnyan merchant named Crossel, you say? I do remember that. He brought me a piece of ore, claiming that it was Smaragdus jadeite. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus jadeite or not. But if a customer insists, far be it from me to contradict them. He was quite generous with his money, too, so I didn't give it too much thought. I processed the ore as per his request.
Do you have any leftover debris from your work on it?
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore, after all, so I kept a few loose shavings to study myself later. They're right over there, in fact.
Thank you, sir. We'll take a look at them.
Huh? If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross-sections and patterning suggest that these are Smaragdus nephrite shavings. Yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. It's used to make jewelry all the time. I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though no one's ever proven it.
A thin layer of separation, huh?
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus nephrite is an entirely ordinary ore, containing no elemental energy whatsoever.
Is that so? Well, we might as well give elemental sight a shot. So, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao is able to tell what it was just by looking at the shards? That's pretty awesome.
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great many of these in my time. These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it very difficult to tell them apart. There may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that translates to an astronomical difference in terms of the market price. And, I'm sure, a significant difference in the cost of having them carved into shape.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But, never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr. Crossel...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's take some of these shavings back to Chateau.
Miss Yanfei? Might I be...
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr. Crossel did indeed claim that the ore he brought to your store was in fact Smaragdus jadeite, did he not?
Yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me, in fact. Here. It says quite clearly, 1 chunk Smaragdus jadeite, uncut.
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing record and these stone shavings?
Of course. But might I ask why you need them?
Oh, I have my reasons. Ah, yes. Please sign here on this affidavit. This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings originated from the, ore that Mr. Crossel brought to your store. Please read it carefully.
Yes?
I wouldn't say there's been an incident, just a minor issue. Thank you, sir.
With this hard evidence to back us...
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. We need to find something a little... If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Aha! Got it! Xingxi. She often helps people...
Well, that was quick. How come you know so many people?
Because lots of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts, but the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily complicated. As such, legal advisors like myself provide quite the popular service indeed.
So you help them make sense of the law.
Yes, well, that's no obstacle, because I've memorized all the legal codices. You sound surprised. Knowing the law, oh, this has nothing to do with being an Adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again, with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for Singsi.
Oh, Miss Yenfei, it's you. Has something happened? Did the client from last time,
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. I'm just here to ask you a few questions. Has a merchant by the name of Crossel asked you to put him in contact with a jewelsmith recently?
Krosel? Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? Yeah, he came to me with a chunk of something he called Smaragdus Jadeite. The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, I found an older jewelsmith who made them exactly according to his specifications. This order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed quite recently, which is why I remember it so well.
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be...
Miss Singsi, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossel commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith, did he or did he not assert that the material he presented to you that day...
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials. Mr. Crossel wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures, so I filed it on his behalf. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself, the inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite.
Thank you, Singsi. Now, could you let me borrow this document?
Sure. It isn't serving much purpose here anyway.
Nothing you need to worry about. Just a minor issue. I'll return your document as soon as I'm done with it.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in trouble?
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last trip. Let's go to Boo Boo Pharmacy to speak with Dr. Baiju.
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What do you want to speak to him for?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus Jadeite is harmful to the human body. Once we have this final piece of evidence in our hands, we can wrap this case up.
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little Chi-Chi, she's out gathering herbs. And if it isn't Miss Yenfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor. What business brings you here, might I inquire? Some charlatans peddling ineffectual medicines again, no doubt?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus Jadeite.
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th commentary on the 7 Mountain Treatises. The 7 Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains, and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall ill. Worst case scenario, they'll suffer great changes in personality, and their illness will only ever get worse. Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. Knowing you, Yenfei, and given the specific nature of your question, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to the pharmaceutical peculiarities of
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baiju.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a curiosity for Smaragdus jadeite recently. A Snezhnayan merchant came to ask me about it not long ago. But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted to one of remarkable disappointment. I wonder, Miss Yanfei, if your pressing business might be related to this Snezhnayan merchant?
Ah, you needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you for penning us that document. I'll make sure to compensate you in due course.
You're too kind. Take care now.
That Baiju guy is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been like that. Well, we have the evidence we need. Let's go find Mr. Crossell.
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to assess the compensation due.
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded. I can now provide a final figure for the amount payable.
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the honors, Miss Yanfei?
Of course. According to the stipulations of the contract, Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction price in Mora.
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Surely there's been some kind of mistake, Miss Yanfei.
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus jadeite twin phoenix pins that you rented out to Mr. Chow was, in fact, Smaragdus nephrite. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine. Accordingly, you are liable for this sum, which is payable to Mr. Chow in Mora.
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, Miss Yanfei, you cannot frame me like this. I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is somehow fake? I demand to see your evidence.
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. Traveler, please produce the evidence in question. This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner, Chateau.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between Smaragdus jadeite and Smaragdus nephrite. How does this prove anything? In any case, Smaragdus nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite. So I had him cut away the nephrite, he returned the valuable jadeite core to me, and some nephrite samples remain in the store.
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated. And we are here to talk about evidence, aren't we?
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all. Seems like
hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just...
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all. It shows that the ore inlaid on the pins is indeed Smaragdus jadeite.
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's getting more belligerent by the second.
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hairpins are the real deal after all.
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't revealed yet. Traveler, would you do the honors?
What's this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. Sustained contact with Smaragdus jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause a mild malady, while in serious cases, the patient may suffer a dramatic change of personality and fall seriously ill. Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties of Smaragdus Jadeite?
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But for you to have rented out such a dangerous item... I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the Ministry of Civil Affairs. However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient considering that, as you say, you were ignorant of the danger you posed. Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence presented here will be handed over to the Ministry. I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigations.
What? Wait! I knew.
Oh, so you knew? Oh dear, Mr. Crossell. But if you knew of Smaragdus Jadeite's dangerous properties beforehand, why would you...
Huh? No, The hairpins aren't actually
inlaid with genuine Smaragdus Jadeite? Is that what you were about to say? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay Ms. Zerchow 10 times the original price in Mora? Mr. Crossell, your answer, please. My client and I are waiting.
He's seriously intimidating right now.
I admit it. I confess. The ore I had inlaid on those hairpins was Smaragdus nephrite. But I'm a victim in all of this, too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring that small amount of Smaragdus Jadeite, in the hopes of turning it into a piece of jewelry that would fetch a fine price. But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel extreme discomfort. I couldn't sleep a wink or eat a single bite. I was in a constant state of agitation, too. I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of stone cannot be worn as jewelry. But how could I let all that money go to waste? That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from Smaragdus nephrite, which is almost indistinguishable from Smaragdus Jadeite. I kept the real Smaragdus Jadeite in a specially made box. I daren't touch it again. I was worried that someone would see through it, which is why I only dared to rent them out, not sell them. And then to top it all off, Zhiqiao lost the hairpins after I rented them out to her.
Exactly! If they weren't the real deal, why'd you make her pay so much?
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that Smaragdus Jadeite, some of my business partners found out. I knew they'd be watching closely to see how much I could make off it. If word got out that I sold a pair of fake hairpins, then my days in this line of business would be over.
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client. According to the contract, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original price in Mora, and that is final.
10 times?
Crossell looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow, 20% of that sum will go to me.
20%? That's as much as I spent on that Smaragdus Jadeite!
There's no need. It's fine. You don't have to pay me that much, Mora. Even if the Smaragdus Jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them. Legally or not, I think I owe some compensation for that.
Ms. Zhiqiao, you...
However, Mr. Crossell, since you have no use for that chunk of Smaragdus Jadeite, why don't you give it to me instead? I'll consider us even.
What? But all right then. This cursed rock's brought me enough grief as it is.
Miss Yunfei, I'll turn the Smaragdus Jadeite over to you. I trust that it will suffice as remuneration?
Well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go. But whatever, it'll do.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yunfei. When you have the time, I'll be sure to visit and express my thanks more appropriately.
Oh, come on. No need to stand on ceremony. Now, if I may confirm this again, Mr. Chow, have you and Mr. Crossell come to an understanding?
Well, yes, I believe we have.
Well then, that's good. Mr. Crossell, it seems that my client has no further claims against you.
Is that so? That's good. That's good.
Actually, Mr. Crossell, I'd like to talk business for a second if I may. I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the ore business, and we have a fair stock of fine ores. If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and our choice ores, I think we could do some fine business between us.
Let me think for a moment.
Licenciada Janfei.
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus Jadeite that Granny wants too. All's well that ends well, eh?
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all over the place for it. But then, even though the solution didn't involve actually finding the hairpins.
The right solution depends on your perspective on the problem. The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay compensation. So, rather than looking high and low for some hairpins, proving that the rented item was nowhere near worth what the vendor had claimed it to be was the more an Adeptus. Speaking of, you took part in that battle, didn't you? In which case, you would have heard what Granny said. Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans. The title of Adeptus means precious little to me compared to my job as a legal advisor. In any case, don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today needs legal consultancy far more than it needs adeptal powers?
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely disagree with your reasoning.
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a visit. I bet she's been on tenterhooks for a while now.
Ah, you've returned. Good, good. Then we have all the materials we need.
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now. Got a ton of clients waiting for me back at the office.
Oh, you. All right, then. Go see to your business. Granny should be able to handle the rest.
I'm off then. Bye! Oh yes, Traveler. Make sure you don't lose the business card I gave you. I've been looking into the laws of other nations as well. If you should ever bump into any trouble with the law, come find me directly. Regulars get discounts too.
Come now, child. Are you leaving or are you not? If you have no wish to leave, perhaps you'd like to help me clean my teapot.
I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
That child. Goodness knows where she learned to be so rambunctious. Her father was hardly so riotous or fond of talking nonsense back in the day when he stood beside Rex Lapis. Indeed she is. Liyue has changed, and the Adepti must also learn to change. Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she is also the most intimately acquainted with the city among us all. Liyue is not the same place I once knew. All right, then. Let us speak of this no more. Back on topic. I believe that I still owe you a little gift.
Oh, Paimon's so excited! How is it made?
It is but a single teapot. It shan't take long at all. Just wait here for a moment. There we go. This Serenity Pot is all yours now. Hold it firmly. If you were to drop it, oh goodness, who knows what might happen. Take these blueprints with you as well. You'll need them if you wish to make your teapot a little more lively inside.
Wait a minute, Granny. How exactly are we supposed to use this teapot?
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I've already arranged for a certain little helper to await you within this teapot. She will explain everything you need to know about it.
This is a peaceful neighborhood.
Wow! This teapot seems even bigger inside than Madame Ping's! There's even a great big house in the middle, too! Huh. But there's just a whole load of nothing around it. Paimon can't do that! Well, you're the one with the sword anyway, you do it! Still, why is it so empty here apart from that hat? Oh, wait a second. What is that?
Well, it seems that we have a visitor.
It's a huge finch!
Excuse me, I am not a finch. I am a teapot spirit, and you may call me... hang on a moment. What am I supposed to be called again?
Sí, eso me pasa a mí también.
Oh, call me.
Sí.
I suppose you may call me Tubby.
So you're the little helper Madame Ping mentioned?
Madam Ping? Oh, you must mean Ping. Yes, she did summon me here. She told me much about you. You may leave all matters regarding the upkeep of this realm to me. Your journey may be far from over, but at least this way you will not want for a comfortable place to sleep each night. Though it is the Adepti who create realms such as this, they generally do not have the time of day to attend to the banal matter of their maintenance. Thus, we teapot spirits were created to help guard their realms and manage their affairs. You may consider me a butler, if you will. Now, allow me to explain this realm to you. Have you any blueprints on you? Specifically, blueprints with beautiful rooms, chairs, and the... As long as you have a blueprint, you can refashion this realm however you please.
Blueprints?
Yes, these are the blueprints I'm talking about. Go on, open them up. Just commit the image of the objects to memory and prepare the necessary materials. Then simply release the thought from your mind and the object in the blueprint shall appear within this teapot.
Wow! Is that all it takes? Then we could build a whole city inside, couldn't we?
I doubt it. A golden-eyed Adeptus explained this to me at some point in the past. He said that even though subspace creation is a product of adeptal power, even that has its limits. This world is not a true one, after all. It provides merely a moment of brief respite from the mortal realm, not a means of escaping it entirely.
A golden-eyed Adeptus? Paimon wonders who could that be?
I hardly remember myself. What's more, I have never seen that Adeptus again since. Well, let's not dwell on that. Have a look around. Best you get accustomed to this realm. If there's anything you would like to ask, just look for me.
Bueno, ahora sí, vamos. por las misiones. Para reclamar nuestro avance diario.
I'll keep this close.
Pom. Ah, qué burro. Oh. No manches.
Opening a chest is like unwrapping a gift.
Opening a chest. Ah, sí, ¿cómo voy a conseguir ese?
Windblade.
No saben nadar.
Leave it all to me, as a good knight should.
Ay, no alcancé a prenderlo.
Steady as stone.
Ahí está.
Wonderful.
¿Y cómo voy a alcanzar ese de ahí?
A reward on the road.
this an answer from this world?
¿Qué es eso?
I'll keep this close. A reward on the road.
¿Para dónde se fue? El cosito.
I'll race you there! Another target tracked down by Outrider Amber! Bet you can't keep up with me! Wow! These will come in handy! Huh.
¿Dónde estará la otra antorchita que debemos de prender? ¿Estará por acá? No. Ahí la vi.
Opening a chest is like unwrapping a gift. Windblade!
Adeptos.
Someone needs assistance.
Campanita de cristal. Lo tengo. Aquí había otro Anemoculus perdido. ¿Dónde está? Ay, 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 ay. Desde aquí puedo llegar. ¿Hasta dónde está? ¿Está por acá? ¿Dónde está el otro Anemoculus perdido? ¿Dónde? Híjole. ¿Por dónde llegué? ¿Dónde está? No, por aquí no era. Oh, sí, ya lo vi.
These will come in handy.
Ya lo vi, ya lo vi. Creo que sí podemos ir. A ver. Vamos a intentarlo. Tenemos que ir hasta donde está el puente. ¿Desde dónde? Me falta abrir un...
Another target tracked down by Outrider Amber.
cofrecillo.
Let it rain. Go, go, Baron Bunny.
A reward on the road.
Let's dance.
¿Llegará? Intentémoslo. Ay, qué bueno, así no. Yo creo que de más alto, sí.
I'll race you there.
Oh, ya va a llover. Híjole, no va a llegar. No llega. Esto es el más alto. Desde allá arribotota. Ya me perdí. Ok.
I won't let you down.
está abajo.
I'll catch up. I'll race you there.
Ay, qué burro.
Blink. Over here. Blink. Over here. Ha. Yeah. Blink. Go, Barbara. Prepare to be blown away! For the gliding champion of Mondstadt.